Hi everybody, Molly Oyua with Sacred Fire Creative, and we are a full-service digital marketing agency. We specialize in working with women and minority entrepreneurs and business owners. And today I have the honor and the pleasure of interviewing Heidi Doebel with Allstate Insurance. And Heidi, say hi to everybody.
Hello, how are you?
And
my first live feed.
Yeah, first time live. And I'll just share that one thing Heidi's doing, which is really clever, is she's got to post it over herself so she doesn't have to get distracted by her own image, which I'm going to steal that and use that next time because sometimes it's just easier. But anyway, I see some people chiming in live. So if you are on live, please go ahead and tell us where you're viewing from in the comments, or just say hi in the comments. That would be great. And if you're watching the replay, thank you so much for watching the replay. We really appreciate it. If you have comments or questions for Heidi, please go ahead and type them anytime, and we'll bring them up throughout the broadcast. All right? And so we're just going to get started here. Heidi, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about you.
Okay. Well, come from a marketing sales background, went to school for marketing, and in '04 I was working in an internet company and lost my job and was just tired of working for people. So started looking at opportunities and actually called my Allstate agent and was trying to get some insurance for my dad's boat. I said, yeah, I lost my job, looking for a new opportunity. He said, well, you could be an Allstate agent. And I was like, I'd never thought of that before. I thought, I don't know. And he goes, well, you'll own your business. And I said, oh my gosh, yeah, that sounds great. Let me look into it. So that was in '04, and now it's 2017. So I've been an Allstate agent for 13 years. And my background has really helped me to understand the business side of things. And then obviously the 13 years of experience I've developed as an agent, really honed my craft, and now it's very important to me to make sure I understand the customer's needs, that they're educated and they're not just buying something because they're required by law.
Awesome. So I love your story. I love that it kind of just was something that, you weren't even seeking out really. And that, was a result of something that maybe could have been not as good in the past. But, I think that we've all gone through challenges in our life. And I love that you've made this into an enterprise. I want to read some things that I kind of posted this on the actual Facebook Live post. But I was so impressed. These are things that I just want to share right off the bat. Not only have you been doing this since 2004, but some of the awards and recognition, is that okay if I share it?
Yeah, okay. Go ahead.
Okay.
It's a fun part of the job. So.
So you were part of the Allstate Inner Circle Elite for 5 years, the Honor Ring for 11 years, Circle of Champions for 7 years, and Allstate Leaders Forum for 7 years. Seems like these are a big deal, and I just want to say, that just serves as a testament to what you're doing. I don't see that very often, and I just want to say, it's just an honor knowing you and that you've built your business in this way. And for those of you who are watching, you're out in Happy Valley, right? Happy Valley.
Correct.
And so we're also, you and I met through another group, which is PDX Women in Business. And you did a presentation for our group recently. And I was really impressed because the way you share things is in terms of stories, in terms of experience. It just shows a lot about your experience. And I don't feel like I'm constantly being sold, or that it's like there's this one size fits all type of package, So I think that that's really important to share. What are some of the?
I have 6 or 5 staff as well, and then a financial specialist that works with me, as well as a benefit specialist. So we do workplace, financial, all your personal lines as well. And I teach each of my staff as well to tell stories, because you need to be relatable to people. They need to understand, why do I need this? How does it affect my life? Again, not just buying it because the law requires it or because my mortgage requires it. And that creates a need for people, obviously, and then they understand why they're buying it. And then it's not just about price, it's about making sure that they really are covered in the event of a loss.
Awesome. Yeah, so let's go through kind of like the scope of what you do. Just kind of break it down. So you do insurance for the home, and do you want to like go through different kinds of things, the products that you have?
Yeah, so we have home insurance, renter's insurance, landlord insurance, manufactured homes. Let's see, we have auto, of course. We have all kinds, anything you can tow, so a boat, a motorcycle, trailers, life insurance, business insurance, workplace products. But we do, I'm securities licensed as well, so we do have a brokerage with Allstate, and we sell financial products. We do retirement as well. And the nice thing about that is we're not advisors, we're specialists, so we don't charge a fee to sit down and talk to you and do a retirement review, which is about a $500 value. So that's something, that I think is a good niche for Allstate, because if you don't have a lot of money, and to be able to sit with somebody and get professional advice without a cost to you is really important, I believe.
That's great. Is there something that people come to you for the most? Is there something that covers like the bulk of what you do?
I think personal lines are the first thing that people, will contact us about at Allstate. I do a lot of marketing towards homeowners. In Happy Valley, we have a lot of homes being built. So that's kind of the first step in getting a customer, is kind of connecting with their home policy and going from there, because that has a lot of equity in it and a lot of value to you. You're going to want to protect that, from losing that investment.
Yeah, definitely. Can we also break it down into stories? Do you have any stories to share with us of, just some cases or examples where it's important to have it, or maybe somebody didn't have the right kind of insurance, something that you could just share with us?
Yeah, well, I had a fire happen in 2011 out in Damascus. The customer actually called me and said, this is my home I live in, but I'm going to probably rent it out in a couple of months. And we said to him, well, let's make it a landlord policy. He said, no, I'm not ready. Well, about 3 months later, the house actually burned all the way to the ground. I have a picture of it. I mean,
wow.
There was nothing left. And he calls us up and he says, we had a fire. I said, okay, let's get a policy, or, get a claim open for you. And I find out he has it rented. 5 people were living there. The good news is that Allstate took care of everything, even though the policy wasn't correct, even though we had advised him to do, to make it a landlord policy. We ended up covering everything that he needed to cover. The sad part is that the tenants did not have renter's insurance, so they lost everything. And I don't think people understand how important it is to have renter's insurance, because it's not just about your personal property. We help you to find another place and the cost that it takes to move into another place. If there's liability, let's say that you had a candle lit and you actually caused the fire, or a cigarette, you're liable for the damage that you do to that property. So, renter's insurance is definitely important. Making sure you have the right policy in place, doing a review. I always say, when something changes, obviously let us know, but you should do a review at a minimum every 2 years, because there's going to be discounts you're missing. There's going to be coverages maybe that you need to add. Life changes and people just think, oh, I don't need to call, it'll be fine. But, it's very, very important to check.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. That's great. What else? So I feel like there were some changes in like regulations recently, especially with like auto insurance. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, so in February, there was a new bill, 411, that was passed. And in the past, before that bill was put in place, your personal injury protection was covered for a year under your auto insurance. And personal injury covers you for any harm that comes to you from either an auto accident, whether it's your fault or not your fault. If you're walking, if you're riding a bike, if you even slam your finger in the car door, that's all going to be covered under your personal injury protection. Well, the state increased that to 2 years, so now insurance companies are going to have to cover you for 2 years instead of a year. And the state minimum that people typically carry is $15,000. You can go all the way up to $100,000, and that's as far as if you need more than that, that's something you need to discuss with your insurance agent. And then the other coverage that changed was uninsured motorist, and that's if you are hit by someone who either doesn't have insurance or they have state, lower minimums than you have. So the state coverage right now is $25,000 per person. If you hurt someone in an accident, that's how much, on a minimum policy we would cover per person, and then $50,000 per accident. So in the past, if somebody hit you, let's say, and you had $100,000, $300,000 of liability coverage, we would take their insurance. So let's say they had $25,000, you would get $25,000 from their insurance, and then you'd only get $75,000 for a total of $100,000. It's a little complicated, and now it stacks. So if somebody had $25,000, you have $100,000, you get $125,000. So it was a big change for insurance carriers. They had to raise rates a little bit, but we've all that's been processed now, and we've had all our conversations with our customers. But good to know if you're kind of seeing rates rise, that's part of it in Oregon, but there's also a very, very high increase of distracted driving and deaths associated with accidents. So rates around the nation are increasing. You can look up the Today Show did a piece on it. There's quite a bit of articles out there about it. And insurance carriers really kind of have been racing in the last year and still this year to try to catch up with the amount of claims that they're paying on, to make sure that they're still solvent.
Yeah. No, it's so important. And thanks for sharing. I mean, I know it's complicated, and I feel like I'll even go back through and watch this so that I can keep up with all the numbers and everything. Yeah. But I mean,
the best thing to do is to call me or call your agent and just talk about it with them individually, because we can really take you through, okay, here's your scenario, here's what you have, what are your assets, let's make sure you're truly covered. I mean, one of the best things you can do is have an umbrella, which is a liability coverage that goes over your auto and your home and then any other policies that you have with your carrier, so that if your liability limits are exhausted in a claim, that umbrella would kick in. Typically starts at $1 million, and then you can also buy higher coverage than that. But when you think about owning a home, your assets that you have in retirement, now you can't touch, like somebody can't touch like a 401k or something that's that you can only take out at a certain age. But if you have stocks, if you have savings, and in Oregon, your wages can be garnished as well. So even if you don't own anything, it's important to make sure that you have that coverage. If you get in an accident and kill someone, your whole life can change, everything you've worked hard for. And even someone who's 20 and doesn't own a home could be paying for the rest of their life for one incident.
That's heavy.
Yeah.
Heidi, and this is like that's the real truth from Heidi. There you go. Yeah. Thanks guys for watching. I see a few more people on, so if you are watching live, feel free to comment and let us know where you're watching from, or say hi in the comments, and we'll bring those up for Heidi. And if you have any questions about your own insurance, definitely give her a call afterwards, and also feel free to write in the comments any questions. One of the things I was curious about, and I don't know if you cover it, but since we're having, Hurricane Maria now, and we had Hurricane Irma and Hurricane Harvey, in the southeastern U.S. and in Texas, and not that we are looking at that right now, but I'm wondering, like, do you guys have flood insurance, and can you speak about that a little bit?
Yeah. Sure. So flood insurance is actually it's a government-run program through FEMA. So rates are the same no matter who you go to get a flood policy, but only certain carriers can actually write it. So Allstate can write it, so not a problem there. The one thing to know about flood, though, is in order to be covered, there has to be one of two things in effect. Either 2 acres of land are flooded, or at least one other person, or 2 people, or more are affected by the same loss. So like I had a client who had a above ground pool, and that ended up breaking and flooding his basement. Even with flood insurance, that wouldn't have been covered because it's just one person affected. So surface water coming from the ground or above ground into your home has to have one of those 2 things in order for flood to cover. It's not covered by your standard homeowner's insurance. Flood, if you're in a preferred risk, so not in a flood zone, is about $400 a year for coverage. So, when you have something like a hurricane happen, what happens is people aren't near water, so they don't really worry about having a flood policy. But if you are near the coast or near a river, that's a definite possibility. So I would suggest that people have that if they are near some body of water and they feel like, there could be a floodplain. Even if there never has been, you just have to think ahead. The other thing is when a hurricane happens, the insurance companies come in and they have to determine, okay, if let's say a wind came along and blew off a roof, well, did the damage happen from the flood or did the damage happen from the roof coming off and rain getting into the home? So sometimes you'll see a situation where somebody doesn't have flood insurance and they get part of the home covered, but not the whole home covered because part of it is covered by the wind and hail. So like back when Sandy happened, they had to determine, okay, well, anything 2 feet and below is flood and everything above that is wind and hail.
Wow.
So it's going to be, a case by case situation, something good to talk to your agent about.
So I feel like, okay, so Heidi, you know so much, and you train your staff so they also know, but a lot of us who know you personally, we'd rather go see you, and I feel like that you would probably be too busy for that. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, that's part of why I have staff. I definitely am not too busy to sit down and do a review with my customers. So, I have a staff person who has over 20 years of experience managing my office. I have another person with another 20 plus years of experience, 2 other staff with 4+ years of experience, and then I have someone who's a little bit newer. So there's a lot of experience in my office, and if they can't answer the questions, then I'm always happy to step in. But I'm always there for my customers. I've had customers that'll call in and go, I need to make a payment. Can I talk to Heidi? My staff can take care of that. But when it comes to the serious stuff, like getting involved with a claim or really making sure you have the right coverage, I'm going to have either my office manager or my other staff with the 20+ years or me do those reviews for the most part. So you are going to be, in good hands.
You're in good hands. Okay. That's great. Thank you. And thanks for being a good sport and letting me put you on the spot with these types of questions. I also want to just say hi to my husband who's watching. Hi. Thanks so much. So, and I'm really grateful right now that it's raining out here in Oregon, lots of rain. Some of you may know that Jeremy is a wildland firefighter, and he got called back out to another fire out in Central Oregon. So even though they're camping in the rain, I'm still glad that it's raining and maybe helping out with the fire out there. Fires.
Thank you, Jeremy. We appreciate it.
Yeah. Hi. Thanks so much for that. And so before we wrap up, you can definitely find Heidi at her Facebook page, or you can also go to allstate.com and look her up that way. And let's see, what else? Heidi, do you have anything that you want to add before we get going?
Just one little quick thing. First of all, life insurance, people think that they're covered at work if they have it. A lot of times it's not portable if you leave the job, and a lot of times you're paying more for the coverage because there's no medical that's done, so everybody goes in to a pot basically with all their medical problems, and you're paying for maybe somebody who's had a heart attack or some other situation. So you could probably get more coverage at a better rate if you get it outside of work. So I always say it's a good idea to have something outside of work. Just call and we can give you a quote. Like I said, I have a life specialist named Noe, and if you want to call him directly, his phone number is 503-267-1904, and then you can also reach me or my staff at 503-558-8065. We'd be happy to look over what you have and give you a professional opinion and make sure, even if you don't switch to me, that you're covered correctly. That's really, really my passion. I want to make sure people understand and that they're covered correctly.
Awesome. I'm adding your phone number here so that people can reach you if they see this at another time. And let's go ahead and show that. There you go. So you can give Heidi a call there, and that's an easy way to reach her. That's a good point. I know that I had talked to you about that because a lot of workplaces offer life insurance, but what you offer is something different. So it's just a good idea to go ahead and, sit down and talk about it with a specialist, somebody who actually knows, about this and can help direct you. So,
and get it while you're young, while the price is inexpensive. Don't wait till you're in your 40s or you have a medical problem and can't get coverage.
Right. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on, answering some questions. Really appreciate you. And thank you so much for just making it simple and also just really approachable. I think that to me, I get a really clear sense that you care about people, and that's why insurance is important.
Yep.
And sometimes, when I meet a lot of other insurance agents, it's always about the sale, getting the sale. And I don't feel that way about you. Of course, you have a big agency now and you're doing well. And so that's a testament to your sales skills and your marketing skills. But it's also about caring about individuals and families and making sure that they're getting the right kind of coverage and that they're realizing what they need is important, and it's important to their future, their family's future. So thank you so much for what you do and for coming on and for taking time out of your busy day to do this. Really appreciate you.
I appreciate you taking your time as well. It was fun.
Awesome. And so Heidi, just hang out there for a sec. I'll come back to you. I'm going to say bye to everybody else. And if you are interested in finding more about our marketing services, you can go to sacredfirecreative.com. And also, again, thanks again to my husband. He's just over here chiming in, and I just really appreciate you. Also, thanks to all of the other wildland firefighters who are out there in our state and then across the country, really helping out so that we get to do what we are doing. Thank you so much for allowing us to sleep at home safe at night. So thanks, sweetheart. All right. Bye, Heidi. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.